Let's take a moment and check out the difference between standard mode and network mode setup on your FH-X731BT. Even though your particular in-dash receiver may or may not have a CD slot across the top like this one, the on-screen and button operation is identical for the following Pioneer models: FH-X730BS, FH-X731BT, FH-X830BHS, and MVH-X690BS. Now, when you first power up your system, the clock will come up on the screen so you can set the clock. And in this case, we're just going to say yes to 12 p.m. And when we're done with that, the system automatically jumps over to the speaker mode setting. And this is a very, very important setting in the installation process for setting up this particular head unit. In speaker mode, we'll press enter here. We have two settings to choose from: standard mode or network mode. And these are entirely different output settings for the head unit. As you can see, on the back of the Pioneer FH-X731BT, there are three sets of RCA outputs for operating external amplifiers. In standard mode, the top set are the rear RCA outputs. In standard mode, these are full-range audio outputs from all sources, including Bluetooth audio. Now please note, Bluetooth phone calls are not heard through the rear RCAs or the rear speaker outputs when in standard mode. And additionally, a high-pass filter can be applied to this output. In network mode, these same RCAs become the mid-range audio outputs. In addition, when in network mode, Bluetooth phone calls are now heard from these RCA outputs and the rear speaker level outputs, again, when used in network mode. Both a high-pass filter and a low-pass filter can be applied to this output when it's used in network mode. In standard mode, the middle set of RCAs seen here are the front audio outputs. These are full-range audio outputs from all sources, including Bluetooth audio. Additionally, when in standard mode, Bluetooth phone calls are heard through the front RCA outputs and the front speaker level outputs, again, when in standard mode. A high-pass filter can be applied to this output. In network mode, the middle set of RCAs become the high-range audio outputs. Please note, in network mode, Bluetooth phone calls are not heard through these RCA outputs or the front speaker level outputs when the system is set up in network mode. And a high-pass filter can be applied to this output. Both in standard mode and in network mode, the lower set of RCAs seen here are used for the subwoofer or the low audio outputs. Bluetooth phone calls are never heard through this output, and a low-pass filter can be applied to this output. So standard mode we'll look at first. Standard mode means that our speaker level outputs will be front and rear or front and subwoofer output, and we'll take a look at both of those settings in just a moment. So standard mode means for speaker level outputs, front and rear, or front and subwoofer output. But also, very importantly, for anyone who is running external amplifiers in the system, this head unit has three sets of RCA outputs. In standard mode, those RCA outputs will be front, rear, and subwoofer output. So standard mode means front, rear, and subwoofer output. Now, if we roll over to the next setting here, that could also be network mode. And in network mode, everything changes. The speaker level outputs become, the front speaker level output becomes the high output. The rear speaker output becomes the mid-range output. And for the RCA settings, the front RCA switches to the high output, the rear RCA switches to the mid-range output, and the subwoofer RCA switches to the low output. So under network mode, your RCA outputs are high, mid, and low, not front and rear. So this changes entirely how you might install your system. In this case, we're going to choose the standard mode for the RCA and speaker level outputs, and we'll press enter. Now you have to confirm yes, because once you do this, you can't go back and change it without resetting the head unit. So we'll confirm yes that we want to do that, and yes, we're going to quit. We will switch on the head unit here. And now let's switch the head unit off again. And we'll go into our initial menu. So with the head unit switched off, if I press the volume control for a moment, I get the initial menu and I get the system menu. Let's take a look at the initial menu here and press enter. Under initial menu, I have rear speaker right now full. That means rear speaker outputs are set to full range. If I want, I can switch my rear speaker outputs to subwoofer output. Now this setting doesn't change what's happening with the RCA outputs, it only changes the speaker level outputs. So right now rear speaker is set to subwoofer output, and the system is capable of operating a small subwoofer directly from the speaker level outputs, or I can have the rear speaker output be full range. So that would mean front is full range and rear is full range. I'm going to choose full range for this application. And we'll roll over to the next setting here, which is our system update. And if there is an update to the system, it'll install through the USB port right here. And we'll touch enter on system update to check our system information. If we touch system information, we see we're on version 08.36. If you see a number lower than 08.36 on your particular screen, there is at least one software update available to you. So check pioneerelectronics.com to see if there is a software update available for your particular head unit model, and you can find the model number right here. Let's roll over to the next setting. Well, we'll go back here and roll over to the next setting, which is the software update. And again, if the software update is available, you need to download that from pioneerelectronics.com, install it onto a USB thumb drive, and we'll put the USB thumb drive in right here and commence with the update. We'll roll over to the next setting here, which is back around to system info. We'll go back and go over to system reset. If you've chosen the network mode or you've chosen the standard mode and you've changed your mind on how you want to do that, you can do a full system reset right here by pressing enter and confirm that yes, you want to do a reset. We can also do a microprocessor reset by touching the button right here on the bottom. If you ever have trouble with the system not responding to your commands correctly, try to do a microprocessor update right here. So we will go back and roll over to the next setting, which takes us back around to our rear speaker full range or subwoofer output.